o'clock at Holy Name Cathedral, the Chicagoland will celebrate the life of one of our most influential citizens, Sister Rosemary Conley. Sister Rosemary was the president of Misericordia for 59 years. In 1969, she was appointed the administrator of Misericordia, which at that time was a child care center on the south side of Chicago, which maybe there were 20 or 25 children. She was working at getting a master's in social work from Loyola University, and she became very interested in those that live with developmental disabilities. And she looked around and realized that Chicago had woefully few resources for families facing that challenge. And a couple years later, Angel Guardian Orphanage in Rogers Park closed, and she saw this great opportunity to create a community for those that live with intellectual and developmental disabilities. You know, in 1969, in most cases, not all cases, but in many cases, a child born with developmental disabilities often, was sent to an institution in which they were basically bedridden. Most of these children never survived childhood, let alone adolescence and adulthood. And Sister Rosemary, learned that there's a wide spectrum in which encompasses people with intellectual or developmental disabilities, and that there was little insight into the capacity that these children had. And so she embarked on this campaign to change attitudes, to provide resources. Today, there are 600 residents at Misericordia, from little children to very elderly residents. Many of them work every day. They have lives of tremendous meaning, and somehow Sister believed that every child has the right to live life fully as best as they can given their circumstances. In fact, this week, the week that she died, Misericordia was hosting an international conference on developmental disabilities. Rosemary was a nationally renowned expert on this great challenge facing our culture. She, to me, embodies what a pro-life church is all about. A few years ago, there was an effort in the Illinois Assembly to close institutions that serve developmentally disability people and to mainstream them. And this would pose an enormous challenge to the future of Misericordia. So she invited this representative to have lunch and to visit Misericordia. Now, this well-intentioned person had this image that places like Misericordia was like a warehouse filled with beds with children crying all day. And then when he went and saw these beautiful homes and these children flourishing, and not just children, but young adults and older residents, at lunch, he took his cell phone out to call his colleagues in Springfield to say, "We have no idea what we're talking about. We have no idea." And Rosemary had been around the block a couple times. She was a force to reckon with. And we celebrate her devoted sense of mission. I couldn't help but thinking of her today on this feast of the birthday of John the Baptist. John the Baptist was driven with a sense of mission and purpose. He was to point to the Christ. He was to call others to Christ. And this was not about him, about the mission of proclamation. If you look at the beautiful icon of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, you'll see the child Jesus sitting on her lap, and Mary's pointing to Jesus. This is about Jesus. It's not about me. And that's sort of the great clarion call of discipleship. How do our lives point to Jesus? Mary, of course, being the most extraordinary disciple of that sense of purpose and mission, calling Christ to serve others, using the power of Christ as a source of love and mercy. today. We praise God for the gift of Rosemary Conley. We praise God for all those John the Baptists in our lives who are pointing us to Christ, saying, you've got to center your life on the Lord, and much good will come from that.
Thank you for participating in this production of our virtual Mass. Your presence means so much. Every day, so many parishioners connect to OLPH through the digital ministry. The digital ministry is one of almost 80 ministries supported by the parish. That's why your support of the parish is crucial, so we can continue to have the resources to fund all of our ministries that touch the lives of many. Thank you for watching, continue to watch, and thanks again for your support.